Hello, welcome back. We are still discussing the parenting myths. We hope that you've been enjoying them. This next one is that the myth that every parent is a loving one. Now, when I heard that, I thought, oh, of course I'm loving. I'm always loving. But then I realized there are times when I always love my children, but I don't always like them.
Yeah.
And I even feel guilty even saying that. And I know that it doesn't sound right, but we don't always like our friends. We don't always like our spouses. We don't always like our partners, what they're doing in the moment. We get aggravated. I think it's good to acknowledge that is normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I talk about quite a bit from my own experience with my son is this idea of bringing him closer. That when he would throw fits of rage, that the psychologist asked me what I did with him when he was like that. I didn't like him in those moments. And I would send him to his room to get it together. And I would say, when you're going to be a good boy, then you can come back. And she said, no, you never send the hurting away. You bring them closer. And I've had a lot of interesting discussions with people on that concept of bringing them closer. Because that again shows that, yes, we're always wanting to increase our connection with them, but that doesn't mean that we become so loving that we're allowing our kids to be permissible for any behavior.
Yeah. Loving someone doesn't equal being a doormat.
Yes. And that is such a balance. And so one of the things that I have been saying is that bringing kids closer and being a loving parent does not mean you don't have boundaries.
Yeah.
For example, my son was throwing a fit the other day, and I had to stand up and say, no, you cannot speak to me that way. That's not okay. And it's okay to do that.
Absolutely.
It's not unloving to have boundaries, and it's not unloving to set expectations.
Yeah.
Say, this is what we will not tolerate in our house. This is where we draw the line. This is where there will be a consequence if this happens. There's no hurting people with our words. There's no hurting the house. No, that's not unloving.
No, absolutely. And I think that's sometimes the mystery of loving is in our society, we think of loving as having those sort of rose-colored glasses on, that you're in love with them all the time. But loving somebody is not the same as being in love, I think. And it's important, I think, to make that distinction that, sometimes loving is, like you said, having boundaries, is setting limits, is sometimes removing yourself from the situation if you need to, if it's not safe for whatever reason, right? And so I absolutely just agree with what you're saying, in that it's important to give ourselves grace around that, and to realize that it's not always about how we feel that's necessarily loving, but what we're doing.
Yes. And one thing I'm trying to work on is working on being loving but also firm.
Yeah.
That middle of the river, I tend to either be loving or firm.
Yeah.
But the middle. And maybe you struggle with the middle too, and that's a part of the journey.
Yes.
Is
absolutely.
discovering the middle.
Yeah.
And so if you have a story or something you would love to share with us about your journey as being a loving parent, we would love to hear about it. Please reach out to us. You can reach out to us through our Instagram or through our YouTube, or you can also check out our website, which is down below. And stay tuned for our next one.